This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by Joe Cordina here at the Matchroom Gym in Essex. Joe, always a pleasure. How's life going ahead of April 22nd?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, life's good, but it's hard at the same time. I'm grafting in the gym day in, day out, pushing on. Some days are a struggle, because it's getting harder and harder, but we push through them and grind them out.
The chance to become a two-time world champion, I'm sure it's not in circumstances you'd have imagined after only just picking up the title last year. Talk me through this process and how you feel being able to challenge for the title immediately after having to give it up through no fault of your own.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really like talking about the situation anymore. I made peace with it. It's what it is. I got stripped through an injury, and I'm just happy I get to fight again for the title to become two-time world champion, and it's in my hometown. Yeah, things happen for a reason. Doors close, another one opens, and yeah, this is just another. That was just another bump on my journey, and yeah, we're coming to the end of that road now. Yeah, and we're almost there for becoming two-time world champion.
Shavkat Rakhimov, the current champion, obviously you was there when he defeated Zelfa Barrett ringside. You saw him. From what you saw, how confident are you that you can exploit any weaknesses that Zelfa Barrett was able to show on the night within Rakhimov?
Yeah, of course. Listen, I see a lot of weaknesses in a lot of fighters, and they might see the same about me. So yeah, I don't take too much from what Zelfa done, although I do take little bits of what he did, and like the shot he put him down with, that's a shot that he's open for every day of the week. But at the same time, styles make fights, and that's the way. I can't say, yeah, I'm going to go out there and do this exactly what Zelfa done and catch him with the same shot, because it don't work like that. But at the same time, Zelfa was doing well and pivoted his eardrum, and it just went downhill from there. So yeah, it was a good fight while it lasted, and then obviously what happened. But I think my boxing ability, my ring craft, my experience in boxing is far superior than what Zelfa have done in his career. So yeah, listen, I'm gonna do everything I can on the night to come away victorious, and I plan on doing exactly that.
Joe, you just mentioned your talent and your ability there. With that in mind, how do you go about defeating Shavkat Rakhimov come April 22nd?
Just being me. Like I say, I've gone through boxing, 15 fights, 9 KOs, and I had 3 fights with two damaged metacarpals. Was boxing a weight above than what I should have been. Won pretty comfortably, and won a world title, and I haven't got a second gear. So, well, out of second gear, out of first gear. So yeah, for me, it's about when someone's in front of me that's going to put it on me and test me and push me to my limits. That's when you'll see the best of me.
When you became world champion, you scored a contender for knockout of the year against Ogawa. With that in mind, can it be topped on April 22nd?
Nothing I do in boxing will ever top that moment. It just won't happen. So yeah, for me, if it happens again, I'll be happy. But that first time, it's always the best.
Where do you think, standing for your own mind in terms of the future? I know in the past I spoke to you about the potential Shakur Stevenson fight. Some tweets were exchanged between the pair of you. I imagine success, get your hand raised on April 22nd. You want either unifications or other big names out there.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm in boxing for. I ticked off my list of being a world champion. That's been ticked. Then I set new goals, which is now to unify, and I want to set my family up, which unifications bring big money, and big names in boxing bring big money. So that's what I plan on doing now.
Shakur Stevenson actually fights this weekend. Will you be tuning in?
Oh yeah, listen. I've said it even when we are exchanging back and forth. Even before then, he's one of my favourite fighters to watch. Talented, he's one of the best fighters on the planet. But at the same time, when he sort of called me out after the fight, I wanted that fight. Obviously, he's a different weight now. Don't get me wrong, I'd still be open to a catch weight, but I think his intentions and his goals are a bit different to what mine are. He's in a different weight. They're the same. Intentions are the same, but at different weights. So, yeah, I'd still be open for it, like I said, for a catch weight.
Just one on that weight above. You've got Haney, Lomachenko on May 20th. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Very, very good fight, very tough fight for both. I think Lomachenko beats him. Yeah, he beat Gamboa's comfortable twice, Devin Haney. But the Lomachenko that lost against Teofimo, that wasn't Lomachenko, that I know. And I think we'll see one of the best Lomachenkos to date when that fight comes up. He has to be.
Joe, I know usually after a fight, especially if you're victorious, you might want to go out and celebrate, but after your fight during the night, you have an unbelievable bout between Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Again, what's your take on that? And will you be watching that one?
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I think Tank. I think Tank wins. Knockout.
Linking back to yourself, or rather the Jordan Thompson fights on the same card as you, the newer addition to the gym, faces Luke Watkins. What do we see in that fight?
I think I got to back my stable-mate, and seeing how hard he's worked, the improvements he's made, and the talent he is, I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the cruiserweight division, and it won't be long before he's wiping the floor with all the cruiserweights in Britain. Obviously, at world level, it's a bit different, but domestically, I think he'll fly through there. He just needs to find his feet. He's like when he first came here, he said, "I've never trained like this before." So I think with him being with us, that new lease of life, the way he's training, he's living like a professional fighter. So yeah, I think that's gonna step him up each fight as he goes on with Tony, and he's in a good place. He's around good fighters, and that's what you need to be.
You obviously have John Ryder fighting a couple of weeks after yourself. He said to me that he thinks he's just going to miss your fight in terms of him travelling out to Mexico. So, yeah.
The rat. I know. He funny enough, he's flying out on a Thursday. Obviously, I'm fighting on a Saturday. But obviously, he got to do what he's got to do. It's a massive fight for him. It's a life-changing fight for him. I'm happy for him. He's had a lot of bad luck in his career. Really and truly, he should have been a undisputed world champion. And then he would have had big money for Canelo fight. Don't get me wrong, he's having big money now, but at the same time, maybe it would have been a little bit more. But as we say, timing is everything, and I think he's catching Canelo at a good time. John Ryder come off a good win against Daniel Jacobs. Canelo, yeah, and Zach Parker, yeah. Zach Parker ain't on the level that I believe that Daniel Jacobs is, but yeah, it's definitely a confidence booster for him, and he's in a good place. He's always confident. He never fears anyone, and he's a hard worker. And yeah, I'm happy for him, and I'm just hoping to God that he goes out there, does what he does, and comes away victorious. Hopefully, and Canelo is one of my favourite fighters, by the way. But I hope he goes out there and knocks Canelo Spark out.
Not necessarily just knock him out, but is it a concern for you guys in the gym? I know John's played it down and the others have as well, but he's going back to Mexico. Canelo hasn't fought there in years. People looked at when Canelo fights in Vegas, he always gets kind of favourable scorecards. Does that play on the fighter's mind if you're John Ryder heading into the lion's den, as it were?
To an extent. I don't know where his mind's at with that. I haven't asked him, and I haven't really thought about it myself, but it's something you got to look at. Knock him Spark out, and then you can't complain then, can you? But I know it's easier said than done, but nothing's impossible.
Joe, just get your thoughts on a few other topics before I let you go. I'm sure you've seen kind of a back and forth between some of your former GB campmates and friends, Joshua Buatsi and Lawrence Okolie, with a certain Mr. Eddie Hearn. What was your take on seeing all of that unravel and unfold?
To be honest, I don't want to go too much into it, but obviously they've made moves for their personal, for their careers, whether it's to better them or they had problems or whatever. I don't know. But they've done it for their career. That's what's helping them. They want to move on or do this or do that. I'm happy where I am at the minute, so I can't complain. But as it stands, they've made the move, and they've got to just walk that road now. But yeah, I'm happy for them, and I'll support them. and obviously we're not going to be on the same bills anymore, which I'm a bit gutted about. It's always nice being on an Olympic Brothers bill, or on the same bill as someone that you went to an Olympics with. It's always nice, because I spent years and years with them traveling the world. So and I speak to both of them regular. So it's yeah, I'll be supporting them anyway.
I mean, Joe, that viral video of you knocking out Ogawa, the first thing we see is yourself and Joshua Buatsi jumping up and down on the ropes.
Yeah, it's for him and me to see it, how happy he was, and he was just as happy as me. That it gets me every time. Like me winning a world title was good, but I don't watch it for the knockout. I watch it to see that, and to see everyone's reaction is great. And yeah, like he's before every fight he messages me. He sends me quotes from the Bible, scriptures from the Bible, and yeah, prays for me. And he came in the change rooms beforehand and prayed for me. And yeah, I'm happy for that. I'm grateful.
Joe, you saw another former GB campmate of yours, Anthony Joshua, return this weekend. Points victory against Jermaine Franklin. Impressed, not impressed?
I can't say I wasn't impressed. People were giving him stick and saying this, he's finished. No, he's not finished. He's been with a new trainer, so he could be working on certain things. His footwork, I thought it improved very much. His footwork, his hand placements. I've never seen him ever slip off shots and come off them with his own shots. So there's little things he was doing in there that I thought, yeah, his jab was great. I liked to him doubled up on a jab and let a backhand go, and especially the size he come in at. I thought, right, he's looking to do a demolition job. He never, but yeah, it is what it is. He got the win, and that's the main thing.
Somebody knows him as well as what you will, Joe. Some people have questioned, is he nervous when he steps between ropes? Is he too cautious of what's going to come back at him? Do you see that in his performance at all?
We don't know. I couldn't say. That's a question anyone would have to sit down with him and ask him. But listen, no one wants to get hit, and at that weight you make a split-second mistake. Even at my weight, as you've seen against Ogawa, a split second, you could be asleep. So it's one of them things. Do you be overcautious, just make sure you get the win, or do you want to take big risks and just please everyone, potentially get knocked out, and then just make everyone happy? It's one of them things. And then if you do get knocked out, everyone's calling you shit anyway. So yeah, it's a bit of a lose-lose. I'm just happy for him. He got the win, and he's gonna move on. I just hope to God that Fury and him get it on in the future before they both retire.
Joe, I said to John Ryder earlier, I imagine all of you in the gym are fed up of talking about PEDs in the sport, but unfortunately yesterday we saw the news of Amir Khan having failed a UKAD test on the back of his defeat to Carl Brook last year. What were your thoughts when you saw that news?
To be honest, I didn't really fucking look at it. I didn't even look into it. It is what it is. He's retired. I know it's a bad thing and whatever else, but I don't really like speaking on it. It's like the thing with Conor, the thing with Khan. It's a subject that, unless you know the ins and outs of it, just keep your nose out. I'd rather do that. I know the situation with Conor. I don't know the situation with Khan, so I'm not gonna comment on it.
That's fair enough, Joe. Just coming towards Conor Benn. We know that June 3rd date has been touted for him and Chris Eubank Jr. to finally get on out in Abu Dhabi. We know that himself and the board are not necessarily on good terms at the minute. I asked John this, I'll ask you this. Do you think that may be something that needs to be revisited, them guys going in to have talks to see whatever this document had to say about Conor clearing his name that he gave to the WBC so that he can then fight back over in the British seas?
It would be nice, wouldn't it? But at the same time, Conor feels a bit mistreated. But listen, that's up to Conor. It's not my place to say. It's the board and Conor. They'll have to speak it out. Whether Conor wants to or not, that's up to him. And it's a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit of a tricky one because they're both saying certain things, and it's just coming to a gridlock now, and there's nothing really is happening. So yeah, hopefully it can be resolved and sorted out in the next couple of months, and yeah, and potentially fight over here in the future.
Just seeing if it was to be Conor and Junior out in Abu Dhabi, some people over social media saying that it kind of looks like he's run away from the problem back here in the UK. Do you see why people would suggest that?
Nah, listen, a lot of people don't know the ins and outs. They think they know about boxing and politics of boxing and the ins and outs. They don't. So, and I see a lot of shit on social media. I don't look into it, but it's money. It's like when Joshua was going over there to fight Usyk. It comes down to money at the end of the day, and no one is gonna, how can I say, put food on your table apart from yourself. Obviously, you got to do the fight, and people do come out and support, and people who buy tickets and watch it and pay the pay-per-view. Yeah, it do help, but at the same time, you got to do what's best for your career. And if it means going to Abu Dhabi or fighting over in the desert in the middle of it with no one there, and they're paying millions and millions of pounds, you're gonna do it. It's just common sense. Especially in a sport that we get our heads punched in for a living, it's like if you got an opportunity to do that, you're gonna do it because that's gonna change your life. So I don't blame him. He's not running away from the problem. He's just he's following the money, which we'd all do. Let's not get it twisted. Yeah, so it is what it is.
What do you make of the Junior fight now? Does he still hold that same sentiment as what he would have done, 7 months ago?
Yeah, because Chris have had his say and been having his say and putting his little spokes in with Conor, and obviously Conor's been going back and forth with him, and yeah, it will ignite, and the fire will still burn, and it'll be a memorable night.
Joe, I know that I said 10 minutes. It's probably closer to 15, so I apologise for that. I know you've got to shoot and you've got to go get some food down you, so I appreciate your time as always. Good luck on April 22nd. Thank you.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.